Okay. Uh, Throughout the day, I just wanted to make sure that I show the reality and validation of who these people who are trying to make you accept this falsification of reality and what they do and how disturbing they are. And I hope that everybody got a chance to see my videos and understand this disturbingness of what they do. What they do to us, target individual, men, women, and children, is foul. We're human subjects and they contract these losers. Their job is to act accordingly, is to act in certain ways to kind of agitate you. And it takes people who, one, have the ability to have no shame, to turn off shame, and to accept that they are just trash for hire. For me, they try to agitate me, and it's so pathetic. But the way they try to gaslight you and try to distort reality, sometimes I wonder how they find the strength to be able to dumb themselves down to that level. That's their job, though, that they are supposed to gaslight you into accepting this fantasy they put together. You can show gaslighting is that. Gaslighting is a person who gaslights you, you can show them the obvious reality, and they'll be like, no, that's so fake. So fake, so not real. That's their job. And for me, it's like children almost doing that to me. But when you recognize that, you see them for what they are, and then they go into, oh, you're gonna rot in hell. It's like, whatever, I'm gonna rot in whatever ways. I'm thankful that in my lifetime, when I was an able individual, I did not have to humiliate myself the way you had to, because death is gonna come. We all gonna rot one way or another. You're such a pathetic human being at this current time. Even me, the human subject, have more dignity right now with the little I'm able to do than you, who have so much opportunities to do whatever you want. You can live life with dignity whenever you want, but you are such a loser that currently you've chosen the easy way, the easy routes to wherever you want to. It's the easy, but at the cost of your self-respect. Is so humiliating. And for me, I'm just thankful. I've been clear, and if you watch my last video, you'll see that at the end, I bring a snippet of a man who used to pick up kids as young as 14 years old at the YMCA. And it's bad. These people cannot say this name because he's some kind of important figure and they are restricted to say his name for some reason. I can't say why exactly, but I think it has to do because of who put me in this program donated a lot of money to them. And today, this alleged pedophile, is somebody that they are so terrified to speak about. I've seen people threatening my life, or at least try to create some kind of fear. And I will say this man's name, which is Roy Moore. I just make sure that they don't say that. And they will be terrified of this person. They look straight. The things this guy was accused of doing is disturbing. Now, with me, because I'm a target individual and they have this job where they want you to accept this persona, they are coming up with these things that are so pathetic. They're looking, because what's happening today is like they force me to get a reaction toward children. Stimulations toward children is disturbing. So what it means is, wherever I go, it's just like, and these children, they're gonna try to make themselves be seen by me, visible by me. You can see me struggling speaking. That's what they're doing. And the reason why they want to do that is because they want me to get the reaction they can manipulate me to experience. So you see this little kid, just little teenager walking, and they want you to be like, you see, that's so proof. It's like, you heard the testimonials in the last video. Just listen to that. They have this program perversion where they aim it toward children. Specifically, they make you have reaction and stimulations. And it's pathetic. And so it's so sad. And so in this So what they're trying to do is to find way, how can we prove that what you're experiencing is not us doing anything. We're not manipulating you, but look at this thing here. Look at that. So you see, that's proof. I've talked about the sister of a girl I used to be with. Her name was Leah. She had a sister whose name is Chloe. Or I'm just making up this name. And I remember Chloe being a little girl, and then not too a few years back, I look at my Instagram, look at this girl that I used to be with, and I see this Chloe girl now being like tall and bigger, like almost like I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, that was the little girl. Look at her now. She's at that point she was about to be 18 or so. I think she was 17 at the time. She was about to be 18, but I was like, my gosh, I remember her being a little baby. Now she looks taller than the sister. What? And so that's that. Then later on, I remember that the girl I used to date blocked me, and I was like, oh, maybe I can go through the sister, and maybe I see the girl who blocked me. And started going through the sister life, and at that point, I think she's just 18 years old or something like that. She's working at Hooters. I go through her story like it's nothing. It doesn't even faze me. It's like, okay, well, because I know her when she was a little girl. To me, it's like seeing a little girl becoming like just a young adult at this point. That doesn't faze me. It's just whatever. She's dressed whatever she's. It doesn't. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't. But I'm somebody who enjoy watching other people's life. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember she was no. That's what she is now. That's what she's doing now. Like, but they're trying to change it into different stories. And so I remember when I was living last year. So now that was a while ago. Now she's in her 20s or whatever, and I'm talking about this sister Chloe. And I used to live somewhere else, right? 2020, 2021. And there was this perp. You live around people who are contracted to kind of create this thing. They do these things to you. They're contracted by the government, and they do these things and they get some kind of incentives, right? And they try to make you accept this manipulation. It's disturbing. There was this guy that lived downstairs, right? And they were trying to make me subscriptive of this. So I was like, I know the reality of things. I know that the person who I was truly obsessed and thinking about was the girl I used to have something with, who dated for a while. And I was hoping that one day I would be, but they tried to change the whole thing to something else. So I remember he was trying to talk to me, and we talked. I was like, I had this huge crush on this girl, and whatever. She blocked me. Now she's married and everything else. Oh, that's her sister. And he's like, oh, look at the sister, and she goes into the thing of the sister, and we go through the picture. And the sister at this point now, she's like 20 years old or so, right? She's a 20-year-old, 21, 22. She's just barely like early 20s. But we go through some pictures, and there's one picture of her when she's in prom, like graduating in prom, and I think at that point she's like 18 years old or whatever. And me, I've been in her Instagram before. It doesn't faze me, but I look at this perp, and you see his eyes just like. And it's not like eyes of it's like when you see like he really liked what he saw. His eyes just like, I guess he found her very pretty in this picture. And so he reacted, oh wow. Like it was like, wow. And then for a second, and then he stopped. He's like, oh, I was like, and then he got shocked. Oh my gosh, he's such a pedo, look. And then I look at him like, really? And then he just changed. I was like, okay. He's like, okay, well, she's pretty. Yeah, you're right. She's pretty. And it's like, I noticed you seeing her. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. And I think at that point she was 18 years old. And of course they gave me like stimulations. I'm like, I don't care. As long as she's an adult, do this false stimulation. I was seeing her before. None of this thing was happening. They forced me to have stimulation. At least maybe here she's 18, so whatever. But now what they're trying to do is because this perp is supposed to make me subscribe to this persona. But he seems like he got caught up in the way the sister, who they were trying to make me be thinking that this is the girl that's I had this whole thing about her. When seeing what this perp, who's contracted to make me believe in this false persona, this perp is supposed to make me believe that I'm into kids and teenagers, whatever. The way he looked at her, I'm telling you, I don't have to be able to go into people's brain and figure out, but he just like, his eyes just like, wow. And he's like, you like what you just saw. And then he tried to play it off. It's like, oh, you said, and then he just like, okay, no, she's like, yes. I think he realized that it was too obvious that I noticed that he liked the way she was appearing. And so he tried to play it off, and then he's like, okay, whatever. Now, because the reality of what that means, as they try to create this false persona, and you see the reality of people who are perps like them, who are trying to sell this fantasy. This person, the guy who's supposed, you guys, part of you guys, protecting children, investigating, that moment, I just saw it. I saw this man looking at this person. Maybe in this picture she just turned 18. She's 18 or so. I think it was like her prime date in high school, senior year. And being and I'm like, hey, for me, because I've seen this girl before, and I remember her when she was a little girl, and so to me, I don't have that perspective that I remember her being the little girl. To me, it's more like, oh my gosh, I remember her being a baby. Now she's grown up, and that's the kind of mentality. And so they tried to change that. They gave me stimulation at the time because they could do that. But I'm like, I know that's what you guys forcing me. And at least here, maybe she's like 18, whatever. But I know it's falsified. And so they're trying to change this whole reality of the guy who is a perp, who was supposed to make me subscribe of this false persona, seemed to have liked what he saw. Then he tried to make me feel like, oh, you're like a, it's like, and then he just realized somehow that I noticed that he liked what he saw, and he just like, never mind, no, she's pretty. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, it's on you. I know, like, I'm not like you guys. Do your thing. It's not, like, I understand you're trying to sell this BS thing, but your reaction was really strong. He really liked her. I mean, it's just like, it's not like, he's just like, oh wow. I'm like, wow, I guess you might have to think, but they have to change what just happened. They create distorted reality. What I mean by creating distorted reality, they just flip around reality and create imaginations that blocks out the reality of what just happened. And they try to be like, no, he was like, oh my gosh, he was shocked that you somehow saw a picture of her at some point. It's just retardation. Retardations. It doesn't even make sense. Because the guy obviously reacted in a way that can show that obviously you really like what you saw. You like what her appearance. But they try to change. It's like, oh no, he was just like, oh my gosh. And so you hear these people in the hallways like, oh, she's really 18. It's like coming up some random stuff. It's like, dude, you just trying to block out the fact that your quote unquote investigator was like out here looking at her like with eyes like, oh, stupidity. It's like, oh, you're going to be rotten. I was like, yes, I'll be tortured. I'll be tormented. That's because you cannot see Roy Moore. You guys are pedophiles. You guys are low-life trash. Target individual. These people want you to subscribe to their narrations and narratives of reality that is so falsified to the point where they even try to distort the reality of somebody who's working with them, who's part of this program, who was all over this person, just like, oh, it was so obvious. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, sorry, it was not oh my gosh, but it was like very apparent that he just like, whoa. It's like, okay. Desperate. And in my mind, I was like, no, he just saw pictures. Like, by the way, this is 2021. So at that point, she's like 22 years old. 21, 22 years old. So that's a picture that you have to go a few times and then realize, okay, that's like all the picture of her. To try to like counter the reality. It's pathetic. And because they try to block the fact that this guy liked this girl who in this picture is in her prom, like prom dances in senior. They try to make it seem like, no, he was shocked by the way, like, do you understand how pathetic these people are? They create their own stories. And me literally looking at him, it's like, okay, no, yeah. And it was like, she's pretty. And I looked at her, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever you say. So for me, I'm like, to me, I've seen this girl when she's a little girl. That to me, I see her as somebody who just like, wow, she grew up from the baby that she was. To you, you don't know her when she's a kid, so you seeing her like that, and that's why you're reacting this way. This is sad. And they try to change the stories into this new fictional reality because these people are pedophiles. They can't even say Roy Moore. So now for me, whatever ways they try to put things together, I recognize this man looking at this girl in a way that he was interested. Now they try to change that into different stories. Because apparently it was supposed to be me being interested in this girl in the way he was interested in her. But the reality, this guy is interested in this girl. Or he was interested in that picture in a way that's obvious. So now they have to paint this different story. They tell me how they're going to frame it. Yes, of course. Just like you have to frame this new version of reality, create a frame of distorted reality where this person somehow was like, oh, no, he was shocked. Like, oh. Instead of like, oh. He literally like, oh, wow. To like, oh my God. Oh. It's coming up with these ways to block our reality. And now they have these retards that you've seen picture of them. It's like, oh no, you'll serve because we're gonna frame you. It's like, yes, just like you're trying to frame this false reality. Just like you try to paint this false reality, distorted reality, that this perp, just like you are perp, he was interested in this person, this girl in this picture. And it was obvious. So now, create an imagination. Distorted reality can last for X amount of time before reality comes. For me, I don't even let them escape. I don't. And I will never. And so now it's a mind battle to create a new version of look at your perps. Looking at this at this point, I'm just thinking I'm barely an adult. Shocked about how like I guess she was pretty to the point where he was like, oh. And now you have to try to create a new version. They have tried to create a new version. So he was like, no, oh my gosh. Oh. Pathetic. It is so pathetic. Target individual, stay strong. They are trying to make you lose your mind and create imaginations using this technology to make you identify with what's happening today. And you hear that they even trying to distort the reality of the perps that are actually looking at this. I will give her a young adult at this point. In these ways. But want you to be that person. When you have the perp who is working with them to try to make you accept this manipulation. And the same person is the one with eyes just, oh. And then you have this trash contracted to counter reality. I rather die in hell. Death comes to all of us. This is how disabled people are living before they die. Stay strong. Do not subscribe to this distorted reality and the manipulation and the way they force you to imagine their storylines and having this trash that do noise campaign to make you accept these things. Stay strong.